Hey guys, in this video I will show you how to replace the fiberglass pen drain with the shower drain that is used with the shower pen liner. I'll also show you how to properly remove it and replace the plywood surrounding it. This is your typical 36 by 36 fiberglass shower pen that had cracked recently. In order to remove it, you have to disconnect the drain and remove all the tiles surrounding it. In order to disconnect the shower drain, I'll use a simple cutout tool that you can attach to any cordless or corded drill and simply cut the pipe from the inside. The only disadvantage, sometimes that tool might get loose and it might actually fall inside the pipe, so you have to have that telescopic magnet in order to retrieve it. Alright, as you can see, shower pen is gone and it hasn't been a whole lot of damage because the shower wasn't leaking for too long. And now I'm going to cut out some plywood in order to gain access to a P-trap that I'm going to relocate and install the new shower drain. First I'm going to locate the floor joists and then see which direction they're going. Then I'll measure the distance from the edge of the opening to the nearest floor joist and add 3/4 inch. Because most of the floor joists are 1.5 inches wider, and I want to cut that plywood directly on top of that floor joist in the center of it. Once I find and mark the center of the floor joints on top of the plywood, I will measure the distance to the nearest wall that runs parallel with it. Then I will mark the distance in 2 points and I will connect it with a ruler. And this line should be the center of your floor joist. Alright, you're gonna repeat the same step to the other side of the opening because you're gonna have a floor joist running on both sides of that opening. And they usually space apart either 16 or 24 inches. Once I find the center of both floor joists, I will use a large square to connect both lines, and this will create the rectangle that will actually cut out. Before cutting your plywood, you want to preset your skill saw to the thickness of it, because you don't want to cut deep into your floor joist or cut any pipe or electrical wire located below. Another very important step is to remove any nails from your cutting path, but I will always end up hitting one. Once I make my cuts, I will vacuum the entire area because you don't want the sawdust to spread everywhere around you. In order to remove that plywood, you will need a few small pry bars. Most likely you're gonna have a liquid nails right on top of the floor joists. And then using a small pry bar, you can get into the seam, and sometimes you have to just tap it with a hammer to get it a little bit deeper, and you can just simply lift it up. Once you remove your plywood, first thing you want to clean up your residue of the liquid nails from top of your floor joist. So this is our drain that will actually cut out in order to relocate it and replace the P-trap. And as you can see, we always got some water line next to it that only makes the installation more interesting. Okay, if you're going to do this on your own and you have to cut very close to your water pipes, make sure to turn your water off and drain the pipes. In case something goes wrong, you have a lot more time to deal with the issue. To cut the pipe, I will use the DeWalt oscillating multi-tool, and there's many ways and tools to cut your PVC pipes. I like to use it because I can change the angle on the blade and makes nice and precise cuts. One thing that you have to be aware when you're cutting out your P-trap is that you have to be extra careful not to spill the water from it. This is the place that everything was accumulating over the years. And to prevent spilling it, you want to tilt it back slightly when you're cutting it out or handling it. And the best way is just to have the bucket nearby so you can just throw it in there. Once you cut the pipe, you can use a drain plug to prevent any gases escaping from it. Alright, drain is gone and I have a new piece of plywood already cut to fit the opening. And now I will show you how to center the drain and cut the opening for it. Basically, you want to measure your shower length and divide it into 2 equal parts, and then mark it in 2 points and then connect them. This is the center of your shower length, so if your math is right, you can measure the distance to the right and to the left from it, and they both should be the same. And you're gonna repeat the same step to the other side, so you're gonna measure your shower width, divide it into 2, mark it in 2 points, and then connect those lines. Alright, place where 2 lines are crossing is the perfect center of your shower floor. Now I'm going to measure and cut the opening that will fit our drain. In this project I'll be using Oatey shower drain that is designed to be used with a shower pen liner. This is very typical shower drain that you can find in any Home Depot or Lowe's, or purchase it from the link below. This is your shower drain base, and this is the part that you mounted to your 2-inch drain pipe. In case you want to look it up, the part number is 42310. Okay, this is the bottom of the drain. As you can see, there are 4 little plastic pieces that stick out of it. And this is the place where it actually bolt screws into. In order to mount the drain, you have to cut out 4-inch square in your plywood to fit it. On the surface, you have 4 bolts that hold the second piece of the drain and the liner in between them together, and 4 holes that you will use to mount the drain to the plywood. If you line up these holes with the center lines, your drain should be in perfect center. Alright, once you have your perfect center, what you want to do, just measure 2 inches from each line and mark it in 2 points and connect the lines so you form a small square in the middle. And you're going to cut out that small square from the middle. 4x4 square is the minimum that you have to cut out in order to install that drain. And you don't want to cut out too much because that drain has to sit firmly on that plywood. I use a skill saw with very small blade, so I don't cut in too much. But you can drill the 4 holes in the corners of that little square and then use the jigsaw to cut it out. Now I'm going to install and level a new P-trap. So I have a P-trap connected to my 2-inch pipe now, and I have to line it up with the hole that I just cut out for it. I don't have to move it far, I just have to shift it a few inches. So one way is just to stick your hand through the hole and then adjust the trap. And if I have to replace the bigger piece of plywood or entire shower floor, I will use 2 lasers and I will basically line them up with my center lines. And once I remove the plywood, both lines will cross underneath wherever there's a perfect center for that drain. Alright, once I line up the drain with the opening, I will level the P-trap and I will start marking every connection. You want to mark every connection with 1 or 2 lines and mark around the pipes as well. That will show you how much pipe goes inside each fitting. One thing that you have to remember is that once you have the glue on the pipe, you will be able to push that pipe deeper in every fitting. And this is why you want to mark around your pipes and on top of your fittings, otherwise your drain might end up being off center. So you have to be very careful because you will have to take everything apart and put the primer and glue on every connection and put it back together. Once your connections are glued and your P-trap still lines up with the opening, you can set the drain and measure the pipe to connect the drain with the P-trap. To help you measure the pipe, I marked the drain and the P-trap. You will have to measure between these 2 marks, and your pipe must sit at least half an inch inside the fitting. To measure that pipe, just stick your measuring tape through the drain and then measure the distance between the P-trap and the drain. Once you cut the pipe, dry fit your drain to make sure that everything fits like it should. One thing you want to keep in mind that once you apply the primer and the glue, your pipe will slide easier into the drain. If everything fits, first glue the pipe into the P-trap. Once the drain is ready, I always add extra support in between the floor joists. You can use just a 2x4s and you want to have it partially underneath the old plywood and then half of it exposed, so you can put some liquid nails on it and just screw the new piece of plywood to it. When installing your plywood, you want to use either 2-inch or 2.5-inch screws. So as you can see, I already installed the plywood, and the last thing is to connect the drain with the pipe. Like on any previous connections, you want to apply the primer first on the pipe and the drain, wait a few moments and then apply the glue, which is clear PVC cement, on both surfaces. When you're installing a drain, you want to twist it a little bit. That helps your glue to spread more evenly. And you want to line up your mounting holes with the center lines. And to install your drain, you want to use 4 1-inch to 1.5-inch screws. They don't have to be waterproof because the water should never reach them. Once everything is done right, your drain should be nice and level. Alright, so this drain sits about 1/4 inch above the plywood, which is enough to build a pre-slope to it. But some people, they like to have their pre-slope a little bit thicker, and they will set the drain 1/2 inch above the plywood. So however you want to do it, just to make sure that the drain is nice and level and it's firm, so that it basically doesn't move up and down. In case your floor is out of level, you can loosen the screws that hold your drain to the plywood. Then use the shim to level the shower base, then tighten the screw and build the pre-slope to it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new. Please like, subscribe and comment the video, and come back to see more about bathroom remodeling and many other projects. Thank you and bye bye.